What is going on, my herd? Welcome back to another Black Sheep TV production. Today we continue our Does It Drift video series where we purchase another vehicle in-game, build the car up to drift spec, and test the car rigorously to see if it has the ability to be a drift car. Except today, we doing two cars again, and we doing a head-to-head action! Today's episode is going to be out of this world. Well, not really, but some comets, you know, a couple comets. What's better, just the normal old stock Pfister Comet or the really old Pfister Comet Retro? Well, we're going to find out, Gymkhana style. Let's take them to the track. This is another one, guys, that you gotta stance like this. So I thought it was only right to bring you guys to one of the new unreleased classified Gymkhana tracks, since I brought you to one of the new unreleased classified Formula Drift tracks in the last head-to-head. Now again, you will not be able to download this. You can't get it for yourself. If you're in the EMDA on Xbox One, you will likely be able to practice on this, but that's about as far as it goes. So let's see if I can remember this track off the top of my head. There is no warm-up here. I literally pulled right on the track stance this thing, and we're going to pull in. So hopefully I can remember how to do this thing. Well, let's do it. Pretty sticky, and the steering is really touchy. That's the biggest thing I noticed right away on this. No shifting yet though, no shifting. Oh, and there's the shift. Oh, there's another shift. Sketchy too. So this car is a little too grippy for my liking. I would probably suggest throwing some muscle tires on this thing and at least getting a little bit, at least get a little less grip out of that thing. Or if you like the grip and you want to learn how to go faster, then just really learn how to manipulate this car. But she's a shifter. Cost, you cannot steal this car. You need to buy it. It is a $100,000 car. Of course, you're probably going to put a nice paint job, some tint, some wheels on this thing. You're up in that $300K area. So for $300,000, what you're getting out of this thing, I mean, it is. She drifts and she drifts okay. You know, the steering is like the steering is really touchy. If you hold it for a second too long, that car whips on you. So that's a big issue. The car does not stance properly though. So cost, what you're getting out of it, I'm going to give this thing a 7. Driftability, however, is a little lower. It does not have the best driftability. It's actually going to take a 5.5. In the e-brake is probably the one thing that's keeping it from a 5. So efficiency then, keeping in driftability and the cost, I mean, we're gonna kind of get hit a little bit more because efficiency is going to be where that drift or where that stancing is coming into play. So we're gonna have to give it a 6.5 on the efficiency. She could be better. I mean, this car could really be better. There's no denying it for a second that this car could be better. So, I don't know, those were confusing numbers there. I hope I remember them right, but I believe that it's a total of 19.5. If I'm not right, guys, on that number, I'll get it on the actual ranked board properly, but I believe it was 19.5. Those numbers were 7.5, 5.5, and 6.5. So hopefully those were correct numbers. 19.5 is what we're looking at. So let's go unload the Retro off the trailer and get that thing on the track and see if it outperforms this thing. Big thing to recognize with these retros and these Benny's cars is when you throw a spoiler on there, it does not affect the traction. That goes for the 900R, the Debauchee Spectre, this car, the Sultan RS, any car that you would get through Benny's. I haven't seen any of them that the spoiler actually affects the traction. That's why I'm rolling this gigantic wing. I really am not a big fan of the look, so I'm actually probably going to change that in the future, but that is that. It's not affecting it. Let's stance this thing up and get to work. So this one also drifts. It will allow us to bring it on into the track. I did not check my raw time on that last Comet. I shifted twice, so it certainly was just a raw time. Let's see what we can do with this one. I don't want to say it's negative, you know, but not something I'm used to. Oh, there was a shift. I should have probably been concentrating a little bit more, though. I don't want to blame that one on the car either. Steering, guys, that's what's really weird here. It's just like it's the newer Pfister. This one's newer to us, but this one's the retro. It's just like the newer model Pfister Comet, but even worse with the steering. Like, it's even touchier with the steering. Better with the drift, though. Better with the drift, as you've seen right there. That was a really clean, large, long drift right there, so that's pretty crucial. Yeah, it allows me, I need to get the handling figured out on this car, but it allows me to get from my point to point a little bit better, which is pretty fundamental. I entered this backwards. Should be going around at the opposite way, but that's okay. I'm just gonna pull out of here and then call it good. But yeah, this car, you need to get it down. You need to get it down. I probably wouldn't put that big old spoiler on the back either, but that's your choice. That's your choice. So cost. This one is extremely expensive. You gotta buy the $100,000 Pfister, and then you gotta go do the Benny upgrade. And I believe the Benny upgrade is right around $500K. Give or take a little bit, probably. So I mean, you're up in the $700,000-800,000 mark when you really get, you know, I got some things done to this, right? Without going blabbing on forever about that BS, yeah, it's an expensive car. It racks up really quick. So cost of what you're getting out of it, it's kind of right around that same mark. So the 7.5 will be exactly the same as the newer model Pfister. Bringing us into driftability. This car is actually better than the other car in driftability. It's actually substantially better. It actually allowed me to keep quite an angle here with some, you know, pretty steady manipulation of the car, but everything takes manipulation in this game to drift it out. So that's how it is. Driftability, I'm gonna give it a 7. Alright, a little bit better than the newer model there. That brings us into efficiency. It actually stances normal, drifts better, more expensive, but it's going to get the job done better. So it's actually going to score a 8 in the efficiency. For what you're getting, it is very efficient. If you know what you're paying and you're okay with that, it's efficient. Efficiency, I'm actually going to give this thing a 9, and that might seem odd, but if you understand what the cost is and you understand what the driftability aspect is of it, the car stance is normal, so you're not going to be blowing it up in free mode all the time, and it drifts better than the other Comet, and it's probably one of the most competitive Gymkhana cars that I've been in so far. This car is a very good and competitive car, and it is towards the top of the list on Gymkhana Series 1. And I mean, just look at it. If you just want to have it as a free mode sexy car, she's a free mode sexy car. That's faux show. Alright guys, so total in all, that's going to be a 23 out of 30. Outscoring the current Pfister Comet by 4 points. Well, 3.5 if we had those numbers right. As always, guys, I appreciate you tuning in and liking, subscribing, commenting, following, sharing, doing whatever the hell you guys gotta do to make this sheet work and doing it right. Make sure you like my shit and stay happy, stay positive, And we will speak to you next time.